Lower Valley.
Yeah.
It's time for On the Move, brought to you by Fisher Investments. Russell Wilson wearing the 3 in black and gold. He posted this video of him unboxing his hashtag, Peter, new threads elsewhere in the AFC North.
Hashtag frenzy threads.
Peter, hashtag king.
Hashtag $1.2 million to the Steelers. Look at this high-powered Ravens offense that now includes Derrick Henry, who gets free crab cakes for life at Jimmy's Seafood. No, that's in Baltimore. It's great. Playmakers all around the clock. These are the other notable additions to the AFC North. Formidable division to be a part of. At times, they kind of cannibalize themselves before they get to the playoffs, and now this doesn't make it any more helpful. Are any of these teams equipped, though, to take down Kansas City? The Ravens hosted them in January last year, and it did not go well. Did any of these teams, Peter, to you, make a move that made them the threat?
Yeah, I think they all did. I think that's the goal. The goal is to get to that set. The question is, which team is the biggest threat of the AFC North? And if you're talking about just that division, I think right now it's still got to be the Ravens. And I know they lost Patrick Queen, and I know they lost several different players, but they also did bring in Derrick Henry. I'm very, very excited to see this offense with Derrick Henry, because it's not just Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. There is a young man, Keaton Mitchell, who we saw just a taste of from Baltimore last year, a rookie who got injured, who is the Lightning. This is like lightning and thunder, but the most extreme version of it when you've got 6'4", 220 pound. Is that being generous? 220 pound? We're talking 250 pound. What is Derrick Henry these days? I have no.
He's over
I would say 250.
250?
Or he's 245. He's somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
And then Mitchell's your guy who can burn you in a lot of ways. Look, you still got Roquan Smith. You still got all those guys that were stepping up last year, and they brought back Matabuke. I still think it's the Ravens, and I think the Ravens, in a weird way, and I know fans hate hearing this, that might have been the best thing that happened to them last year. It might have been the best thing that happened to get that close and now have an entire offseason of tasting it and not being able to get over the hump. Let it simmer for a little bit and then get your revenge the following season.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, P. I like the Ravens for this to be a rematch. Ravens are very well equipped to go toe-to-toe with the Kansas City Chiefs again. I think it's just going to come down to Lamar Jackson and also Todd Monken being able to really rely on the run game, not just totally abandon
second
the
half
run
he
game.
abandoned. They ran the ball 8 times in this game.
And the thing I love about this, and like you said, I think it is a good thing that this happened to the Baltimore Ravens. Let this simmer a little bit over the offseason, because one thing I do love about Lamar Jackson, when he have an opportunity to come back and prove on something that the world or the football world is saying that he's not good in, he's going to come back and just light it up. So I'm excited to see what the Baltimore Ravens are going to do this season. But I do think it's going to be a rematch for the AFC
And you played for
Championship.
Pittsburgh last year, but you're still saying the Ravens, that's the team.
Yeah.
Patrick, I just searched your name on Twitter. I'd just like to know what people are saying about you as the show
Don't read your
unfolds.
mentions.
No, I'm reading his mentions. I don't read my own mentions. No, someone said, Pat P just was on there saying he feels good, he'd sign on for another year with the team, and Ravens fans, there were a couple of them that say bring him to Baltimore. Would you go to a division rival? Does that even qualify if you've only been in Pittsburgh for a couple of years? Would you go to the Ravens? What about that team?
I mean, I want to go wherever I'm wanted.
Okay.
Wherever I'm wanted and needed.
All right.
I look at this AFC North, and you guys are talking about the Baltimore Ravens, and then obviously in Cincinnati, Joe Burrow's coming back. He's the guy that has been able to take down this Kansas City Chiefs team back in 21 on his way to a Super Bowl run. I'm going to answer this question. I'm going to say potential when it comes to this division. And I'm going to talk about the Cleveland Browns. Wow. I feel like for the second straight year, we're talking about what their potential is. But we saw something about the Cleveland Browns last year that I think was special. This is a team that, Schrags, you emphasized it all season long when we started talking about Coach of the Year with Stefanski, because this is a team where their offensive line was beat up. It felt like guy after guy was going down with an injury and somebody else was going to have to step up. We watched the star of their team and Nick Chubb go down with a gruesome injury in Pittsburgh early on in the season. We watched Deshaun Watson get banged up and have to play through different injuries. We watched a rookie in DTR come in and have to win games. PJ Walker had to win games. And then eventually they signed Joe Flacco off of the couch. And this was a Cleveland Browns team that was playing on the road in Houston for a playoff game. Yes, they didn't win, but you learned something about your your team when you have to go through that level of adversity. Now, this offseason, they go and they make a trade for Jerry Jeudy to be opposite Amari Cooper, a guy that he grew up watching and trying to emulate his game after. Now they have Elijah Moore in the slot. Nick Chubb hopefully can get back to where he was. But then Jerome Ford as a backup showed what he can do. So I look at this team in Cleveland, and Jim Schwartz comes in as a defensive coordinator last year. Myles Garrett becomes Defensive Player of the Year. They have so many guys on that side of the ball to go and get a veteran like Jordan Hicks at that linebacker spot. To me, the Cleveland Browns could surprise a few people and potentially say, hey, we have a seat at the table and maybe we can do some things and we can get healthy and get on the right track.
For me, Cleveland and Cincinnati, it just is a quarterback question. And it's not that I don't think those guys are talented, but like, is Burrow going to come back and be the Burrow that we saw 2 seasons ago? Because Joe Burrow and the Bengals and their offense, it was rough times in September before he got hurt. And they started to figure things out before his injury took him out for the rest of the season.
They did.
But are the Bengals, they did. But are the Bengals going to get back to a point where they are continuously either sweeping the Ravens, which you have to do, that you're sweeping the Steelers, and you are setting yourself up in January to host playoff games? I think we obviously saw that it doesn't matter where Mahomes is playing in January, he's going to take care of his business. So can the Bengals get right and healthy? And they made good moves as well, but there were just enough, it just wasn't enough good quality Bengals play last season for me to be like, I cannot wait to see the Bengals. I want to see them. I need some questions answered, but I think the Bengals could run. T. Higgins, big question mark. Yeah.
Were you surprised they got rid of Joe Mixon, went and signed Zach Moss?
I was very surprised by that.
Mixon's their 3rd all-time leading rusher, had a great year last year. I think he's Mr. Reliable. I thought that was an interesting decision they made.
I thought it was too, because without your quarterback, he was definitely the bell cow for their offense.
Yeah. Right.
We watched him when Jake Browning got in there. He's the guy who restructured his deal to kind of stay in Cincinnati.
Can I ask one more thing?
The business side of the
all
league.
this LSU receiver stuff, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, is there a world where an LSU guy can find a way to either get Justin Jefferson over to Cincinnati, or is that? Have you heard about this? Him recruiting him?
I have heard about that, but that's not happening.
That's not happening.
Or just money.
That's huge, huge pay cuts for those guys. You talk about could possibly be 1 and 2 receiver money.
Basically you're really playing 7-on-7 then. You can't pay the offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Burrow's going to need a minute to find